Welcome back to Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. So, this time we're about to have part two with Coach Fernando Daniels. So, I don't want you to miss any of it. So, please go back, listen to part one, and now you're about to hear part two. We actually ended on some good information. So, I'm going to turn it right back over to Coach Fernando Daniels.
Hey, well, thanks for having me back. Uh, and I know that some things probably will get a little uh biased, but I want everybody to understand that my theory, it pretty much just comes from, of course, living, of course, experiencing several relationships, and of course, listening and sitting and consulting with my peers and men of all ages. Like you said earlier, I did work at Department of Juvenile Justice, so I'm also a teacher. So my extensive background doesn't just come from being around older males. I'm around younger males every day. Of course, I'm able to formulate, and I wouldn't say an accurate opinion, but I would say I'm able to formulate uh, some facts and details from everything that I've heard that seem pretty consistent. Uh, and I know before anyone wants to ask, it's always, hey, well, what level are you? And so I'll
Absolutely.
go and
They're
I'll
going to
go
want
ahead
to
and
know.
knock and I'll knock it out of the box. I wouldn't be married if I was not already something. So I've been the guy that kind of cheated a little bit and played around because I wasn't sure what I wanted, and definitely had my moments of in my past where I was deceptive. Uh, I would not be speaking on this if I myself haven't fell victim to the things that I speak on.
Absolutely. So, guys, that what makes it even more credible is because you from experience. You're talking from, like you said, you have been around many, both all sexes. I mean, not all ages of male sex. So you've been able to formulate, and I like the word because that's what happens if you hear something over and over again. It becomes, I won't say the norm, well, the norm, because now it's acceptable. Like you
Absolutely,
said,
absolutely.
men are given kudos when they go on the hunt and they conquer all these women, and now they
Mhm.
looking like the big Mr. Big Huncho, because now you got all these notches under your belt. But on the
Absolutely.
flip side of that, I like when you mentioned earlier about who does fall victim. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then we're going to go back to some of the things that you think are solutions. Sometimes
Absolutely.
I be thinking faster than my mouth. But you know,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Honestly, it may seem crazy, but I think both parties are victims, and I think both parties are only victims because to some degree they can't control the behavior or the reaction to the behavior. And of course, many of us, and I know many of your listeners and viewers, will take a different route because they honestly believe that most men will be able to control or tame their behavior. And that's for each his own to try to figure out. But it's not about taming the behavior. It's about why does the behavior exist? And why is it so comfortable? Because of course, many of us can fight the urge, but we also have behaviors where we have eating habits. So you have to put it in those terms.
Right.
There's favorite foods that
Almost
we
like a
know are
disease.
unhealthy.
Hmm.
Exactly. That we know are unhealthy for us, that we know may be cancerous, that we know may cause diabetes, but
Hmm.
we continue to indulge
Yeah.
because of a good feeling or because of, and we'll
Satisfaction.
know
It's satisfaction.
exactly, exactly. So it's almost like, uh, why are we all fighting something? Uh, to the degree that we know is harmful to the next person. And it's just like you said, it's a disease. And it becomes a disease and it becomes habit. And we already know once something becomes habit, you can no longer be thought guilty of a habit that was created. And this habit was created almost not by you. It was created by your peers. And I'm speaking quote unquote men.
Right, right.
Uh, it's created by males, the male species at an early age.
Well,
And
I'm gonna go a little deeper. I did a women empowerment speech a couple of months ago, and
Mhm,
I myself I believe in keeping it real. I'm going to go back further than just our ancestors. I'm going to go back to Adam and Eve. Eve caused Adam to go against the will of God. So
mhm,
if she had that much power, that just goes to tell you that women don't realize or they don't use their power to the best of their ability. Because if they did that, then you would not have as many cheaters as we do. Because guess what? You won't have anybody to cheat with. Then, like you said earlier, you'll start to like the same species because I can't get it over here. She won't do it. So that's
exactly.
what starts to happen.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. And that goes to solution. Solution driven. Of course, anytime we're dealing with a mass epidemic, as I spoke in the earlier session, uh, that there are some smaller things that would have to happen, and they have to happen under the surface, not on surface. Of course, on surfaces, like you said, all the women, quote unquote, boycott heating, and they just say, "Hey, we are going to make sure that we're not going to help it." That's surface level. Uh, will that will that remove the man's urge though? I
Absolutely
don't think
not.
so.
Because you just said
I
if they can't get the woman, then they start to be with each other. You know,
abs-
so the only
absolutely,
thing you can
absolutely.
do is tame the beast. And and
There you go.
and you would think, because we as women think that we should be worthy enough that a
Mm,
man would not want to, cheat on us. Or you would feel that after I've
mhm,
gone through what I've gone through to birth a child for you and to do all these
uh,
things, you would think that
mhm.
that family, now you have children, you would just think that
So,
that he would not want to ruin all of that or her, because some women have walked away from it too. So I
yeah.
don't want to sound, biased or sexist, but
Mhm.
it's the flip side of both of the coins, But either
Yeah.
way, you would want to think that somebody
Mhm.
is worthy enough that you
So, key words you just said, spoken, probably like most women would say, the word worthy.
yeah,
And usually women get lost in the concept and the purpose and the reason that this man is stepping out. A lot of times it has nothing to do with your worth. A lot of times it has nothing to do with your value. A lot of times it has nothing to do with how perfect or how wonderful you are. It has everything to do with he's been taught to hunt. He's been taught to hunt.
and I'm kind of glad
So
you kind of putting it. Not that I want to hear it, because no woman or no man.
no
Believe
one
me,
wants to hear.
we're gonna have men that gonna say, "Oh,
Uh,
he don't speak for me," So
uh,
we're gonna have a lot of backlash. Come on with it, y'all. But hey, it is what it is. But
it's
it
supposed to
has to be said. And the thing about it
It's
is
true.
that I had a young well, he wasn't a young man, he was a man. But anyway, I had a man say to me, that he'll never chase a woman. And I was talking to my girlfriend. I said, "Well, when did that start to happen when men didn't chase women? Now the men want the women to chase them. So we are just so confused and so messed up and so
Mhm.
out of line. The alignment of how it was designed to be is just totally gone. So everything is just
Yeah.
corrupted. It's sad.
Well, because we have no, and you just said the design isn't there isn't a design anymore.
Yeah.
We haven't there. That doesn't exist.
Yes.
Anything goes. We have independent thinkers now. We
Hmm.
have relationships that really have no structure. We have all kind of relationships that exist.
I
Um,
know. I'm
so with
like,
those, yeah, with those dynamics, you can always believe that at some point we'll all just be independently moving however we feel. And we in some places we see that where I
and it's not
whatever
just the young, it's the old
Mhm.
people now
Exactly,
have
exactly.
started to believe that they should just be free and
Yep,
live life
yep,
and
yep,
not thinking about the cost of what you've done, but you just want to be selfish and do what you want to
yep,
do. And
yeah, yeah.
that's another thing. Are we being selfish when people want to do what they want to do?
No, we're not. We're not. No, we're not. People are entitled to feel and want what they want. The problem comes when people began to be deceptive and lie about what they really want. That's when the problem is. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. We'll have we'll have stories that we hear of other people. It'll be whether it's on TV or whether it's someone that's close to our circle or whether it's wherever, it's always a discussion like why would they do that? So it doesn't make sense. It
I
kind of
would
know,
love to talk to
but
Mrs.
people to
Daniel.
people
That's the next one, part
but
three.
people
Is that
so people actually still gonna do what they want to do. Is that nobody gonna stop that? Like people do what they want to do,
yeah.
and
And
they
like you
feel what
said,
they want
they
to do. They
want
move how they
to
want to move.
satisfy. They want to be satisfied. And they equate
Mhm.
doing whatever they want to do to their happiness. If I want to be happy, I feel like I should be and do, and no matter who I step on, no matter how I do it, how I hurt, what I do, I want to do me. And this is where we are now. That's
Absolutely.
why people don't care about each
Mhm.
other anymore. I don't care about what you think. I don't care about wow.
And hey, and do we really want to say they don't care about what you think? I don't think it's I don't care about what you think. It's just that whose feelings become the most important. It's
Yours
probably going to be my feelings, and I know people. Yeah, and I know people don't want to hear that, and people always are quick to say, what they'll do for their spouse, or what they'll do for their loved one, or what they'll do for their love, or what they'll do for their significant other. Most important part is always you. Because if you're not happy, you will not be able to provide the happiness for somebody else. And I think people are so afraid to stand on that. They're so afraid to show that they're having that thought that now they end up pretending to be or feel something that society done told they should feel, you know, and kind of
are staying
it
to something
becomes
because you
yeah,
feel that
exactly, exactly,
society says that you must be married, have children, have the
exactly.
white house with
Yes.
picket fence, that American way.
Yep,
And
absolutely,
whereas you may
absolutely.
not feel like you ever, ever wanted to get married because you did want to be that person that wanted to date
Yeah.
20, 30,
And
40.
you're definitely up another door. You are definitely up another door. That door would be, are men forced to marry or do they honestly want to be married? And we'll say that because that's an underlining topic that goes further than I think anybody ever wants to hear. And now we end up in situations, scenarios we begin to break for flesh because were we really in it for the right reason? And what led us to be in that position. What are we leading with? But hey, that's a discussion for another day. I just think that honestly, men, we will become our own downfall, and it'll start from just men teaching young men uh, how to move and handle hormones because it's already scientifically proven at age 16 to 18, your hormones are the highest that they will ever be. So how are we teaching young men to handle that? How are we teaching them what to do when they feel this desire and passion for this female who physically looks a certain way. They are running crazy. They don't know what to do about their feeling. So
Right.
all they know is to respond to the feeling, And guess what? When they respond to the feeling, which is natural, somebody high fives them and says, "Way to go. Good job. Okay." And now they're looking like, "Oh, so you're telling me this feeling I feel, me responding to it, it gets kudos."
Mhm.
This-
So now you
And
want to get
now
more.
once
You want to get more of those kudos,
and
you know.
and now the crazy thing is once I've done this for a decade plus,
You are really freezing up.
a woman, I how about now? How about now?
Well,
Am I good now?
it's kind of been a minute. At first, I thought maybe it was just your photo because it was still.
What about now?
Yeah, you're better
Are
now.
we good now?
Yes, yes.
There we go. Yeah, but before we close, I want to say though that uh, when once we're taught something and we're allowed to behave like that for decades, and now a woman comes along and she says, "Hey, I want you to remove that habit that you've been taught since you were 6 or 7 years old, and now I want you to follow the habit that I was taught."
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. That's gonna probably go bad before it goes good. That's just honestly truth. It may not be every male, but I do know that is the epidemic of what is happening when we talk infidelity. That
And
a man has to, yeah, a man has to go against what he's already been
what he
accustomed to
really truly
doing.
feels. And
Exactly,
that's where the
exactly.
lies and the deceit and all the other stuff comes in because
Bingo.
he's
Exactly.
not being true to himself, and
Bingo. Yep.
that's
Yep.
the part. Even if they would exercise better with that, I think I would be
Yep.
better, or I would rather that you be that person to tell me what will it hurt?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But at least I know you're letting me know, look, I feel this kind of way. I can choose to stay with you or not. And that's what I did. But
Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
on the flip side of that, it destroys families. It really does.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
crazy part about it because
Mhm.
we as blacks, as a black race, has so many downfalls and we're not learning from them. We're not learning at
Mhm.
all. We're not learning from the violence. We're not learning from the infidelity. We're not learning from
Mhm.
just self-respect. There are so many issues that we as black
Mhm. Mhm.
have to
Yep.
conquer and
Absolutely.
see that there's a problem. I don't know. Sometimes I think, do we
Mhm.
really understand that we have an issue in our community? We're watching our children now don't care. They do not care. They do not have fear. They don't. They just want to just exist. No more. No motivation.
Mhm.
I talked to a young man today. I talked to his father, and it's so sad because the father says that he's fighting just to get his son to understand life,
Mhm.
and it's sad.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
we up against.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what we up
this
against.
has been great. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Coach.
Absolutely.
Again, I know that we're going to get a lot of responses, which is going to be good because
Mhm.
it's food for thought, and it will start.
Mhm.
It'll hopefully
Mhm.
wake up some people and have them thinking another
Absolutely.
way, change some of the mindset.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
but again, I would love to have you and Mrs. Daniel come on
All
later on in the future, and so
right.
I can tell us
I'm
how you all
absolutely.
have those good conversations
I'm pretty sure.
that couples really do
Abs-
need to have, because
Absolutely.
we don't
Absolutely.
we don't want to talk about
Gotcha.
it.
Okay. It was
All right,
president. It was
well,
president. Yep.
take care.
Okay.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank
Welcome to
you.
Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Guys, please do not forget to go in and listen to part one, and you definitely can't miss part two. Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. Bye. Have a good one.